Hey guys, welcome back to the Ghost and Friends YouTube channel. Very special guest in the house, former Texas Aggie quarterback. Hope you Aggies that are in here watching can respect. I said Texas Aggie quarterback there. Welcome to the channel for the very first time, Mr. Reggie McNeal. How we doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great, man. How you doing, man? Appreciate you having me on one. You know what I'm saying? And shit.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed, man. And
Yeah.
my fault and my apologies for being late.
No, you're great, man. It's not your fault at all. It's funny. You're just sitting around. I'm just sitting around. And like you said, you gave me your number. Should have shot you the text earlier. So thanks for you guys that hung out, waited on us. For you guys that'll tune in later. We did it. We got here. All right. That's what matters.
We're here.
We're here. And so, Reggie, man, first and foremost got to say, a lot of guys are probably like, why are you bringing on Reggie McNeal? Why are you going to have an Aggie on? I got a lot of flack when I had Billy Lucci on, a couple other Aggie guests. They're like, why are you doing that? And well, for me, multiple reasons. I love college football. Grew up in East Texas, obviously, Mr. Reggie McNeal. Some people call you the king of East Texas. And then loved watching you play at A&M, and for multiple reasons, which I'll get into. And so, but first and foremost, we're going to let Reggie, before I get into why I like the guy so much, we'll talk about your high school days a little bit. Talk about your days in East Texas, Lufkin High School. At what point in Lufkin, obviously y'all did special things in Lufkin, but at what point when you're playing ball, youth ball, maybe it gets into junior high or high school, do you realize like, all right, I got a little something right here. I can do a little something with this.
Man, so what's crazy, I didn't even start playing football till junior high. So like when all my boys was playing football, I was playing baseball. So I played baseball year round.
Okay.
And so when I get to junior high, that's when I eighth and back then it's 8th and 9th grade junior high. And so that's when I found out my first time putting pads on the 8th grade. But the whole time growing up, I was just an exceptional athlete or whatever I did, whatever sport it was.
Right.
And so head coach come up to me my 8th grade year, the head coach. So going into my 9th grade year, they were combining going to high school to where it was 9th through 12th. And so I was able to play varsity, be one of the first ones to play varsity as a freshman. Okay. And so from that point on, man, as far as football, you could tell it was taking off from there because you could tell I belong on the field with all the juniors and seniors.
Yeah. And so you're only a couple of years into your football career at that point, in which, growing up where, and I grew up in a much smaller part of East Texas than you, but all the youth football wasn't as, predominant as it is right now. You didn't have all the training and clinics and, nowadays you got flag football. My son, we almost let him play at 4, flag football. And so and this is down here south of Austin where football is not quite as serious as it is over there where we grew up. But so, yeah, you didn't really, so you say in junior high, it makes sense, to be honest.
It was funny though. So I got a bunch of older cousins. So I'm the baby boy. Okay. All my cousins played football at Lufkin, it's everybody. And so at my aunt's house, she got 4 boys. And so I would always be at her house when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I was just telling my lawyer this earlier. I say, man, one day, because we had a big open field, the basketball court, all dirt, wood backboard, and then we had an open field with telephone poles, the wooden ones.
Yeah.
I say I got hit by one of my older cousins and almost folded my body in half into one of them poles. I say I got hit, and when I hit the ground, all of them, everybody like, you better not cry. You better not cry. So I'll get up and try to. And I say from that point on, that's how I learned 1 to be fast and 2 how to make people miss. I say, man, that was some of the worst pain ever. But as far as football, that's what made me what I was on the football field, playing out on the field like that. Because I didn't put pads on until the 8th grade.
Yeah, and then that's crazy. You said, was a season later, and you're like, yeah, I belong with everybody out here on the field and in the high school. At what point were you like, okay, as a team with Lufkin, we can do something special right here?
So our freshman year, we had a very good senior class. They good leadership, and with me being a part of it, so it trickled down each year. Like we had leaders at every level. So by the time my group had got to seniors, we had already paved the way for how things were supposed to be done, how we were supposed to mold, how we supposed to move through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because my freshman year with Sparky Hamilton and all them guys, that was probably one of the best teams that we had. And I think we lost in the fourth round to Plano.
Yep.
And then my sophomore year, we were pretty good. Junior year, we were pretty good. And then like our senior class, we were just we just had that it factor.
Yep.
Whatever it was, we didn't have anything that could defer us from what we was gonna do. Didn't matter the lead, didn't matter anything that was going on in the game. We all trusted each other, and to this day, like I still talk to a bunch of almost all everybody off that squad, man. And we always had that type of relationship like that senior group.
Yeah, that's part of the love for this game that many of us have is the people that have played it, even just at the high school level. You understand the bond, the togetherness. You make brothers out there, and
Yes,
you go to war, and you know what I mean. If you're going to play the game at the highest level, you're definitely going to war out there and really battling. Thanks for being here, Gage, Nash, all you guys in the comments.
and man,
Y'all,
and the thing about high school, man, is everybody just love to play, and these
yeah,
dudes you done grew up with, you know what I'm saying. So
yep,
it's just a different feel when
yep,
you step on the field on a Friday night. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's amazing to be on that Saturday field. It feels good to be out there on Sundays. Don't get me wrong at all. But that Friday night, man, it's just something about stepping out there with dudes that I mean, these are the dudes that you grew up with,
yep.
and you've been around families, you know everybody, man. I think I enjoyed high school football out of all of them, and I
Yeah.
had great times at A&M and further. But man, high school football it's when you do it right. You know what I'm saying? When you're
Yeah.
in the right environment, it could be next level.
Yeah, I loved high school football my or sophomore and junior year. I think we went 2 rounds and 3 rounds, went like 8-2 during the regular season both years, and then we went 3-7 my senior year. So it became a little less fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, making your point, man. Guys you grew up with. You grew up probably going checking out some Lufkin football. You said you had cousins that played. You've heard the same fight song your
Oh
whole
boy,
life. Yeah, yeah. You've heard the same fight song every Friday night for your entire life. You've been around the coaches and parents of other players, and it just makes you want to be a part of that.
yep.
And then of course when you're loaded with talent and have a chance to go win a state title at the highest classification in Texas at the time, the 5A
Yes, sir.
level, it probably helps a little bit too. But yeah, you talked earlier before we went live about losing to Waco High your junior year, Derek Johnson being a part of that team.
Yep.
That season, if you guys get by Waco, looking through that bracket, a lot of close ball games played throughout that region and then into the state semis. Do you kind of think, you get by Waco and you got a shot to win one your junior year there as well?
So my junior year, my sophomore and junior year, really. So when we lost to Garland my sophomore year, we probably would have won state that year. So we lost. We got my receiver. I think we were down about 4 or 5 points. I break out on the run. I break one for about 70 yards for a touchdown. My receiver get a good block, and after I run by him, the dude throw the flag. That was gonna be the touchdown that took the lead.
Yeah,
And then Garland went on to win state that year.
that
And so
hurts.
so they coaches, they were kind of like, yeah, that was the game that
Yeah,
that put us over the top.
yeah,
But yeah, that the same way with that Waco game. But it's if it's dry that day, if it's a pretty if the weather's great, we probably win the game. But we had to deal with the elements, and we were a fast team. We
yeah.
were used to running, and that was our game. And
Man,
so the muddy field just didn't play our part. Like I told you, man, Derek Johnson might have been the fastest guy I've ever played against going side to side.
the Texas guys out there, for those watching, I think they'd all agree. We had a lot of fun watching DJ do his thing.
and let me tell y'all something about y'all Texas guys. I'm gonna give y'all one person that has had, and I don't tell many people this, and I don't, but it's one person that has intercepted me from on every level. Aaron Ross intercepted me at John Tyler, got me in Texas, bro. But I said, oh man, and that's the one that always plays in my head.
Was the Aaron Ross pick, was that in the 04 game?
I think so.
Kyle Field? Okay, I
I
can
think
remember
so.
that one.
Yep.
Yeah, that or no, the 04 game would have been a DK. Yeah, DKR.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
yeah, no. The when y'all came to Texas 03.
03, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
then, yeah,
right.
we come to y'all 04.
The first Vince
Yeah.
first Reggie start,
Yes,
very
sir.
very much anticipated there.
Yes.
Throwing it right back to senior year at Lufkin High School, you have I think over 3,200 total yards, over 30 to 34, 35 touchdowns. But I want to talk about, fast forward all the way to the very end. I want to talk about Westlake, man. You guys are down 24-3 in the state title game against Westlake, who's always around, sniffing state title.
Yeah.
What flipped in that game? How do you guys go on and score 35 of the next 38 points? Win that game by 2 scores.
But we had one, like I said, we had one of the most non-flinch, resilient groups. Like I seen in class. So the week before when we was at we played Ulysses Trinity, and we losing 20-0 at halftime.
I didn't even realize that I was there.
Yeah, so we losing 20-0 at halftime against Ulysses Trinity, and it's a dead rain. I mean, it's pouring down rain and it's cold. We getting to halftime, and Coach Early, our offensive line coach at the time, he tell us, "Hey, fellas, seniors, this how y'all gonna go out?" I look at him, I was like, "Coach, man, we're gonna be all right. It's just cold right now. Like, we cold and wet. We gonna be all right. We gonna win the game." And he looked at me, he was like, "All right." I like, "Shit, coach, we good. We're gonna be all right." And we go out there and win the game. And so that was just the mind frame that we always had. We never did flinch. It didn't matter who we were playing. I think the only game that we wasn't losing in the playoffs was the first round.
Yeah.
So every game in the playoffs, we had to come back and win. So it was one of those deals where it had to be 4 quarters played. You had to play us for 48 minutes, and we were gonna play y'all till the time ran out.
Yep.
And that our whole senior group, but we were molded that way from the older groups. I'm not gonna even lie to you. And then me being able to be a part of 3 different groups, playing with a senior group when I was a freshman. So that whole leadership is just trickling down.
No doubt, and obviously it takes a lot of trust. You fall down in 5 of 6 playoff games, a couple times by 3 scores. You know what I mean? You can tell there's a lot of trust. Not just yourselves, your teammates, your coaches, and the whole program. And so you get down and you're able to just say, hey, that's just ball. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna warm up a little.
Just keep making plays. Just go make the plays when they come to you, fellas. Just make the plays, man.
And and you just trust that. And it's funny you talk about rain and cold affecting, some of the fast teams. Growing up in East Texas, man, and I played 2A, 3A high school ball. Let me tell you this, and I'm sure you've probably heard of it a time. You might have seen it a time or two, knowing how low of chances some teams had against you over there, and like district play and stuff. Coaches would water fields down, bro. I'm sure you've seen it. You've heard it. Probably know someone that's done it, man. And I'm from Teague, Texas, and so Mart, which is probably fringe East Texas, but I look at the whole state and I'm like, we're a lot more east than we are central or west.
Right.
But Mart would come over to town, and Mart would play us, and normally handle us pretty well. And there's a time or two that Teague clipped them over the years. And let me tell you, both times it happened, man, there's 2 inches of standing water on the field, and it hadn't rained in a month, either time. And so I know Coach Kevin Hayes was helping his boys out any way that he could. So
hey, man, home field advantage, man. That's how it goes.
Hey, it happens, and sometimes you don't cut the grass for a few weeks because you got some guys coming to town who can run a little bit. You do whatever you can.
Yep.
And so God bless Texas high school football. A lot of fun. Reggie is not only a state champion at the 5A high school level, which again was the highest classification back then in 2001. He's also an inductee of the 2017 Texas High School Football class of Hall of Fame class. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, brother.
Really cool that you get in there with fellow Aggie legend Dat Wynn. You also have another East Texas legend, Lovie Smith, in there in that class. Pretty cool deal, man. Much deserved, I'll say that.
Appreciate
and so, last high school question we'll have for you tonight, Reggie. Your recruiting process. How was it for you? Did you enjoy it? And then ultimately, what made you choose RC Slocum and Texas A&M?
The recruiting process, loved it for the most part. It gets hectic after a while, especially you getting all the offers. I'm highly recruited and everything, so that it got exhausting after a while. But it was between Miami, Florida State, and Texas A&M, and I was a Texas fan. I've always liked Texas growing up, man. I was a Texas fan, and but what made me not choose Texas or to take Texas out of my top 3 to 5, I was a huge fan of Applewhite.
Yeah,
loved Applewhite.
That's starting to make sense.
And when Chris Sims came and they did the way that they did Applewhite, my thought process was, if they did Applewhite like that, as good as he is and as athletic as I am, why won't they switch me positions?
Yeah.
And that's when it happened. I was like, gosh, because I like I say, I was a big Texas fan, and when that happened to Applewhite, that's when I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, because I like Applewhite game, and he can play to me.
Yeah.
And so that's what took Texas off the board. They got, because I was supposed to have meetings with Mac, like going to the state. When I went to state for track, he tried to get me to come in and talk with him, and I didn't. But it was that was part of the reason, because I was a big fan of Applewhite.
Yeah.
And so chose A&M because my mom didn't fly.
Okay.
Mom watched me play every game. If she would have got on the plane, I would have been in Miami.
Fair enough.
If she wasn't scared to fly, I would have been in Miami. That's where I would have been. But she didn't fly, so that's why I stayed close to home, so she could continue to watch me play.
Did you take an official visit to Miami, Coral Gables? I can
So
imagine
I
that being
didn't
a pretty decent
official,
time for.
but I went.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't take an official, but I went over there because I committed to A&M. So, and actually, hell, I was when we fired Slocum. I had Outlaw had got on the phone with Miami, so they had me a scholarship waiting, because I was getting ready to transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Slocum talked me into staying at A&M.
Okay.
Yep. That's how I ended up staying, because as soon as they hired Frenchie on it, I was out of there.
Well, Aggies, I think you definitely, owe Reggie's mom a thank you, because it sounds like and obviously Coach Slocum as well. Of course, he helped get you there. Mom had a big part of it, and hey, it's okay to root for Miami a little bit. We all have a couple schools that are like, man, I went to school there. I still really like that school. For me, it's North Carolina. I like North Carolina everything. Okay. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Jordan stuff and all the sick color schemes they come up with. But
I'm a Florida State fan too. Bobby Bowden gave my first offer in 9th grade.
Yeah.
So I've always liked Peter Ward.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of them too.
No doubt, man. Those Florida State teams are fun to watch. Always, obviously, very, very competitive, competing for national title year in, year out. But so was Miami. Miami was rolling back then, man.
Sir.
Hard to watch that 2001 national championship Miami team and not want to be a Hurricane. I get that. They were littered with NFL players.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, and with all due respect, the guy won, titles, but they had Ken Dorsey at quarterback, Everybody else is like an NFL player, which Ken Dorsey did play in the NFL, but you look around and it's like,
dudes.
They didn't really match as far as terms of talent. And they were beasts everywhere you look at that place.
The whole defense off everywhere on the field, man. They were legit.
speaking on Major Applewhite and Chris Sims, it's a situation that frustrated me. I mean, I was 12 and 13 years old, and I was like, I feel like I know who should be out there at quarterback. And it's not a knock on Chris Sims. He was really good
Yep.
against people that weren't Oklahoma or weren't in the Big 12 championship game in 2001. He had a great career at Texas. He set a lot of records.
Yep.
But Major had that dog, Major had heart.
Yeah, bro.
You would see him in the coffee line, and you wouldn't think he played football,
Yep.
but he knew how to lead. He knew how to rally the troops. Always seemed to make the plays at the big moment. Now, there was a lot of differing opinions. I'm sure I get that. I'm sure the coaches' meetings were probably pretty crazy back then. But man, in 2001, Texas plays Colorado, and Chris Sims turns the ball over 4 times in the first half. We get down, I don't know, 30 something to like 7. Major comes in, almost brings us back.
Was
We
that
had
the bowl game?
Big 12 championship in
Big 12
01. So
championship.
OU lost to Oklahoma State the week before. They beat us 14-3 that year. OU lost at home to Oklahoma State by 3 in Bedlam. So that put us in the Big 12 title game. And we blow it, essentially, against Colorado. Puts Nebraska in there against 2001 Miami. It didn't matter who Miami played, but like they got the chumpiest of the contenders because they had just given up like 60 something to like Chris Brown and Bobby Purify at Colorado.
Yeah.
And their next game, they had to turn around and see that Miami team. And so, it didn't matter
Then
who
in the
Miami.
bowl game too, they had the Holiday Bowl. I don't remember who we were playing.
Oh, Washington, yeah, they
And
won that game.
yeah, he came. Yeah, they put Major in. He came back and won. And I said, I'm sitting there watching the game, like, bro, you just have me the game from jump. It ain't.
Yeah, because Major didn't play a single snap against Oklahoma that year when we put up 3 points, and so that dude found ways, I mean,
Yeah.
every quarterback makes mistakes, but you roll with it. Sims made a lot of mistakes in the big game. So long story short, man, I understand, as painful as it is to hear that all brought up again. I I understand. It was a tough deal for Texas fans. Now you choose A&M after, I don't know how many series it was your freshman year, Oklahoma game. We're getting right into that. Dustin Long really, really struggling there. I think he, somewhere along the lines of like 3 for 9 or something turnover. In comes freshman phenom Reggie McNeal. You play lights out, man. Congrats on that. Really, really cool. I remember, like I said before we came on, I remember where I was, and now I'm a Texas fan that is at this time. I'm rooting so much harder against Oklahoma than I'm even rooting for Texas. Okay, they embarrassed us in 2000. In 2001, we scored 3 points. We blew a double-digit lead in 2002, and this game was played after Texas and OU have already played. So we've lost 3 straight. I'm a little teenager, and I'm pissed at Oklahoma. And here comes Reggie, and not just did you ball out, man. Your turnovers are like they're cool plays. 3 of them were 40 yards or longer, if I can remember right. Terrence Murphy was on the receiving end, 2 of those, Mr. Porter on the other one, and then Bethel had the one, I think, inside the red zone.
Yep.
And it's just like, how is he doing it? We can't do it. That's my thought. I'm a kid, and I'm like, how is he lighting their tails up? And we can barely cross the goal line against these guys, And so, what was it like in that moment for you, Reggie? Obviously, at that moment, you immediately became an Aggie legend. The first time that Texas A&M has defeated the number 1 ranked team in their school's history. And it's not like you just turned around and handed the ball off, for the 3 quarters you were in there, brother. You took shots downfield, you lit it up. A huge day, obviously, right there in front of Kyle Field.
Man, so from going into the game, Slocum had told me, he had told me and Dustin that I was gonna play, and he was like, once Reds go in, then we'll see what happens from there. You know what I'm saying? So Reds gonna go in regardless how you playing, and then once he get in, we're gonna see how the game go from there. And yeah, as soon as I stepped in the game, man, Sumlin, he was the OC at the time.
Yep.
I talked to him on the phone. He asked me, was I nervous? Just ready to play. And he told me, just go be you. Go have fun and go be you. He was like, shit, we got a hell of a game plan. We understand. You understand everything. So just go have fun, bro.
Yeah.
And T. Murph, them here, T. Murph, Big Jeff, all the fellas, man, they had taken me under their wing from the day I jumped on the stadium. I mean, on campus. And so, man, getting in, it was. I mean, it was just one of those moments where, well, it was just so surreal. I mean, you get in, you see the 100,000. I don't even know about back then. We were about what 95,
Yeah,
85,
yeah,
95,000.
yeah.
You know, we added an extra extra 30, 40.
All different players now, man.
Right. And so, man, nah, but something I mean, you know, he just told me just go in there and ball, man. Just go play my game and just go have fun. And he called it how he said he was gonna call it, and shit, and we executed. That
Yep.
was the thing. I mean, we went out there and executed everything that he called, and you know, some plays we had to go off cue a little bit, but shit, for the most part, everything was rocking and rolling for us that day. Remind me a lot of the LSU game the other night.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine is Reed didn't throw the ball as much.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you kind of came in, we're scoring on every possession there for a minute.
Yeah.
You have one turnover there in the second half. Defense stands up for you, limits good Oklahoma offense to a
Very
field
good
goal,
Oklahoma offense.
and y'all bounce right back, man. And so, big second quarter, big third quarter there. And we do have to appease the few Texas fans we have in the chat tonight, brother. So I will ask, what are your thoughts? Come on, man. You're a football player rolling into College Station. What do you think about the old Yell leaders there?
See,
You're about to
man.
take a shotgun snap, bro, and you look over and Buddy is just he's I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to replicate the movements because I would not do well. But yeah, man.
You know what they stand for is absolutely great, bro.
You handled that real well, man. I
you
like
know,
that.
so y'all can have the cheerleaders. We have our leaders, bro.
Well handled,
They,
man.
they do a very good job of what they do, man,
There you
and
go.
what we stand for over there.
Yeah.
So you know, it's different, but we
That's what makes
different.
A&M, exactly.
Yeah, we different. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's what makes us us.
I like that they get out there, and I don't care what anyone says. Yes, we make fun of it, but they go and they do Midnight Yell, and they
Yes, sir.
tell a lot of really egregious jokes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and like they know they're bad jokes. People sit here and rag on them, and like they're doing it on purpose. I think that's part of
Yeah.
the gimmick, because nobody would get out there and say that out loud with a straight face if it wasn't a
Yep.
gimmick. And so there you go, Nash. I hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah, Nash,
Um,
man, you could calling me out on the leader, bro.
Oh, asking the hard hitting questions for Reggie tonight. I love it. Appreciate it, Nash. So yeah, was it a knee or was it ankle, man? Your freshman
Ankle.
year, ankle. Okay, ankle injury. I know you were sidelined for most of that second half of the year or later in the year.
Yes, sir.
But then, hey, man, it's all your show. 03, 04. You put up big numbers. You set some Aggie records at quarterback. Um, did you ever think that those teams, obviously we have the change from R.C. Slocum to Dennis Franchione. Did you think that A&M was just, were y'all underachieving there, or was it just, did y'all need the change in leadership? And then when Fran came in, what did you feel and think about the hire? Obviously, you spoke a little bit about it earlier, but as you got to know Fran, what were your thoughts?
All right, we finna keep it real. We just keep it real time, right?
You can keep it real. Yeah, absolutely, man. All the other players that have come on
Franchione
it.
was clueless, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely clueless. So Brody Kroll,
Yeah.
you remember Brody Kroll?
Yeah.
I don't know how he got my contact info. Got in contact with me when Franchione was hired to A&M, and he told me, "Good luck, bro." Good luck, bro. He is
Oh
good
no.
luck. And
Are you serious?
yeah, man.
That
And
is rough. That's
yes.
a rough start to the relationship.
And but his sale was the Daniel Tomlinson and all that type of stuff. So, but I wasn't a fan of his offenses when he was at TCU, when he was
Yeah.
at Alabama, before he came to A&M. I wasn't a fan of the offense because I knew I wasn't a option quarterback. That wasn't. I mean, I wasn't 230, 220 that was built to take those type of hits.
Right. And you
I
threw a
can
really pretty deep ball.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So, and I just did. That wasn't my game. And like I say, Slocum talked me in the stand, and I don't think Slocum should have ever been fired. I don't. I mean, you think his when the year he got fired, we had Kill. We went 6-6 that year. Now that year we underachieved.
Okay.
We went 6-6 and had 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, a third rounder, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. We didn't have nobody get drafted higher than the second round all through Freshiona's years.
Yeah.
T. Murph got drafted second round. That he was the only one, and we had dudes that should have been, you know what I'm saying, that should have had a whole lot better chance than that. But man, he did some of the weirdest things to us in practice. Like we'll go through half of a practice in 2 days, and he'll just stop the practice, make us start it all over. So people would think we were like in the second half of games, how we would a select few would have legs.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, anybody had no legs in the second half of games. Our workouts were we were all he wanted everybody to be super strong and big and bulky, and that's that's how he wanted everybody. So we were strong, very we could move people, but not for very long. So in the second half of games, that's where we lost a bunch of games. And I mean, like I say, I just if I would tell Slocum, I'm gonna go on and leave if I would have known.
Know what it was.
Yeah. But like I say, man, I love Slocum, and so that when I sat down and talked to him, bro, it was monumental, and I mean I made the decision and stuck with it, and I got some very lifelong friends from it.
Yep.
And it's life goes on.
No, you ended up where you needed to be, man.
Yes,
I think
sir.
that's pretty clear. So it's not like it was just a decision for yourself. Obviously, Junior's out there killing it and
Yes,
about
sir.
to go do good things down there as well. And so, I mean, was there a part of Slocum being pushed out? Do you think that it had to do with the uprising of Oklahoma, because they were terrible in the 90s? They hired Bob Stoops, and obviously Oklahoma elevates. And then Texas under Mac Brown was starting to reach new levels. Do you think that they kind of looked at those two schools and were like, maybe we need to do something, and they did something rash?
Maybe. And
Maybe. Seems like our schools always overreact to one another's success.
Yeah, you might I've never thought about it like that, but you might be right. Because
I think
that was a decision that I mean it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
At the time, because like I say, we had just had all the people, all them heads get drafted.
Yeah.
And yeah. And we was on the verge of getting Peterson. So we had some stuff in the works.
Yeah.
And a lot of it fell apart because of it.
A lot of people do not realize that Texas A&M finished second in that recruitment for Adrian Peterson. He wasn't coming to Texas, not after Mac brought him to Dallas as an official guest, and he watched Oklahoma beat us by 52. That wasn't going to happen. And A&M finished second. I think most people could tell you that. But it's hard to admit as a Texas fan because we already lost him to one rival, and we didn't even finish second in that race. Another East Texas guy, shout out Adrian Peterson.
Shout out AP.
So, got to meet him when I was a sophomore. He was a senior, and the handshake alone, man, I was like, oh, this dude's different. All right. I can't imagine trying to tackle him. I don't think I could survive another 2 or 3 handshakes.
I tell people all the time, it's not many people that I think, matter of fact, it's just very rare that I think somebody could go straight from high school to the NFL, and from high school to the NFL, he's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one. He was just different from Davey. I mean, from the time he walked in to OU, he was NFL ready.
Yeah, his first Red River shootout, he ran for 244 yards. So it was like, let's get this guy out of there as soon as possible. Get him to a league, make new rules for him. I don't care what it takes. I don't want to see him anymore. You talk about going 6-6 in 2003. The Big 12 was a lot different back then. I would say the Big 12 was the best conference in college football back then. You had Kansas State, L. Roberson at Kansas State. I used to really like the running quarterbacks, man. I like you. I like L. Obviously, I love Vince. I used to love Darren Sproles, and obviously was
Yes.
in the backfield as well with Big 12 champions in 2003 at Kansas State Wildcats. Nebraska was starting to teeter off back then, but
Yeah.
it just come off being very very dominant program. Colorado was good, Gary Barnett. Missouri had Brad Smith, and we're starting to be a
Yep.
little bit better there. And so, yeah, I love hearing Reggie root for the Longhorns, man. We won't clip that. We'll clip some other
See,
quote.
I gotta watch what I say out here, man.
But yeah, I mean, the Big 12 was good. Les Miles at Oklahoma State. That was before he went to LSU. Baylor was.
And we talk about root for Texas. I do. It's only 1 week that I don't like Texas, especially now. And y'all understand that in the next couple weeks. You already know the week I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
that's all of that. But other than that, because I feel like we're supposed to have the best state in football, right?
Yeah.
Texas is the best state.
Yeah.
So if we're not playing each other, I'm not saying I'm over here rooting for y'all, but
Yeah.
I want to see y'all win because I feel like if us as a state losing to everybody else with it don't look very good on Texas as a state when it comes to football.
True.
So that 1 week can't stand y'all. But the rest of them, y'all okay with me, man. I got friends that went to Texas. I got buddies and homies that graduated from there.
Yep.
Y'all are okay, man. You'll never see me doing no horns up though.
Yeah, you probably won't see him in burn orange throwing the horn. That's more than fair. I'll take that. I lived in College Station for 11 years, had all three of my kids there.
So there you go.
Aggies have been really, really good to me. And so I will say, you guys win the game. It's like, okay, I don't get to post a funny, meme or GIF or something about the loss. But a lot of Texas high school football players and athletes just won a game, and then my friends, like you said, your friends, for me, my wife, they're all happy, and you can take some solace in that.
Yes, sir.
It makes the stomach get a little bit easier, man, for sure.
Yeah.
So, Grant Gioni comes in. You guys go 6-6 and 03. Was your run against Kansas State? Was that 03 or 04?
04.
Your big run at Kyle Field.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that one.
Yeah, that was 04.
Yeah, that one took the roof off of the place a little bit.
Yeah, but, I couldn't believe the dudes play me like that though. Still,
yeah.
I didn't know what he was doing. Okay, you won't catch me.
Yeah,
I know that much.
And that's the thing with guys like you and Vince. L. Roberson was really, really good. He didn't move like y'all did, and you look faster than Vince by like a good bit. Like you had that 4.3 speed, like it was true. It looked like 4.3. Vince would run away from dudes, and they'd be working so hard, and it didn't look like he was working very hard at all.
Yep.
And I think y'all, people were just so surprised by how y'all moved in the open field, especially when y'all first came in, and they were like, they just weren't ready for it, man. Y'all are just too good of athletes, I mean, there's some of you guys are so skilled that it almost didn't matter the type of competition you play. You're going to find success. And so, yeah, definitely made a guy look goofy on that play for sure for the Wildcats.
Straight up.
No doubt. Talk a little bit about the 04 Texas game. I thought I was going to have a heart attack there. Vince tries to reach over and extend the football on the goal line there in a 6-6 first half and fumbles. A&M recovers and goes 100 yards for a touchdown. At that moment, man, I was like,
in Texas, right?
Yeah, you're in Austin.
Yeah.
I was like, we're cooked. We just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a direct 14-point swing. How do we recover from this? Texas had a pretty dang good defense though back then.
Man, listen, y'all had defensively, outside of Oklahoma, shit, y'all had one of the best defenses I ever played against. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. Y'all had studs at all three levels.
Yep.
Shit, I still talk to Rod. We were just talking about DJ.
Yep.
You had the Griffs. I mean, y'all had, Ross in the back. Y'all had at every level, it was NFL talent.
Yep.
And shit, we knew it going in. We had to play a flawless game. And but Texas were on both sides. Because your offense was pretty good too. And shit, but those Texas teams were some of the best teams that's been stepped on the field. Man, I ain't gonna even lie to you, but we us being A&M shit, we went toe to toe with them and
Yep.
came up short shit. But they were definitely what they were built up to be.
That's it was so much fun for Texas back then because that 04 season was really special to watch. Vince, I mean, we lose 12-0 to Oklahoma, and it's crazy to think that any team, even in 04, he's still developing a lot as a passer, that any team shut Texas out. Obviously, we still had Seti B in the backfield. RIP, love that guy. A lot of talent on the offensive line, a lot of guys that played in the NFL, and they kind of figured things out, as the season was going on. But yeah, the defense carried Texas through that stretch, and
so much speed. They were very legit.
They're very, very fast. You had Aaron Harris, you had Derek Johnson, you had, like, as you mentioned, all the NFL DBs that Texas had at the time.
You had. I'm telling you had 5, 6. Yeah, I'm trying to think. At least 6, 7 dudes that went to the league out there just like those defenses.
That 04, 05 secondary was a lot of. You had Brian Robinson at defensive end, Tim Crowder, Big Rod. I mean, fun times, man. Definitely fun times.
Yes, sir.
I miss
and they were coached well too.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a good unit. We somehow, man, I miss that type of defensive line. It makes everything a little bit easier when you have those types of defensive lines, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Going on, obviously, you missed the 05 Texas game. I hated that for you, man, because I knew that was your, senior day for you. Your last run against the Horns.
Oh man, and let me tell you that story. So Franchione made me sit out that game. I could have played.
Oh no!
And then he turned around and said that I wanted to sit because of the draft. That's what. But I don't get that info. So I go back to school and do an interview with Gabe Buck, and that's when I find that info out.
Wow.
Reg, they was said that you wanted to sit out for the game, the Texas game. What? I said, man, that was my last game. Why would I want to sit out?
Wow.
So, because I got hurt against Oklahoma that year.
Yeah, the week before, right?
Yeah. And, we get the 10 days. So we don't play that Saturday. Then we play, that Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And so I didn't practice. So I'm doing all the treatment, doing everything. So we played on Friday. Was it Thursday?
It was a Friday that year. Yes, sir.
So we play on Friday. So Monday don't practice. Tuesday don't practice. Or Monday might have been off days. Tuesday don't practice. So Wednesday I try to practice. I'm limping. Franchione, let me cuss me out, get off my field because I'm slowing up practice.
Wow.
So Thursday hit when we get ready to go to the hotel. Man, my trainers come up to me and say, Franchione said, and Fran didn't even tell me. Had the trainers come tell me, Fran said you can go home. You're not playing this week. And I didn't even travel. Didn't even go to the team hotel.
That's rough, man. I'm shocked. I don't understand that.
A lot of people don't know that. So I only told Gabe them on the podcast or on the text Aggies. Only other time I've said that or told anybody. But yeah, shit, I could have played.
Wow.
And wanted to play.
I hate that for you. That's wrong for you. That's your senior day. That's your in-state rivalry. That's a chance to shock the number 2 team in the nation.
And if we win, we go to a bowl game. We don't go to a bowl game with a loss.
This is true. Yeah, you're at 5 wins. Good
point. So we trying to go to a bowl game, and so he come to me that Thursday after we did our walkthrough, and they told me I'm not traveling with the team this week.
Well, as much as I hated, you guys hanging with Texas in that day, probably would have gone down to the wire if not for a block punt return for a touchdown there.
Yep.
And I even more so now wish that we would have blown the doors off A&M just to show Coach Fran that was bogus, man. I hate that move for you. I hate that had to happen to you, man.
It did. I come back to school and I come back to finish my degree, dude. That's when I find out that I didn't want to play because I wanted to sit for the draft. Yep.
That from what I know about you, it seems like there's no chance in hell that was the case, man. That's frustrating. I'm sure Aggies who already don't love Coach Fran probably dislike him a little bit more after hearing that, if they did not hear it already on
Yes,
TexAgs. But yeah, man, I mean, great career at A&M. Obviously, Coach Fran probably held you guys back a little bit. Let's be honest.
yes, sir.
Fair to call it how it is.
Yep.
He put that program in a pretty dark spot for a moment. You guys should never, ever, ever have issue making bowl games. You know what I mean?
Ever.
Like, ever. You
Nope.
know. And
Six
so,
wins. Come on, man.
and now this is gonna a good prelude into my next topic, but moving into the SEC, it hasn't been an issue. And so, a couple questions here. What were your thoughts as the move was announced for A&M to go to the SEC, and then also, how has A&M improved their brand since joining the SEC?
Oh, not well with it now. I mean, SEC it's the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, it was
The
all
Mecca.
SEC. So when we moved to it, I was all about it.
Yep.
And so when we used to play them when we played Tennessee in the Cotton Bowl, I told them, we were talking like shit. The SEC a little different.
Yeah.
Like they it's a little different over there. Like I now see what people talking about. It's just, they built a little different.
Yeah.
And when we went, I thought it was a great move. And as far as the brand, because the SEC was such a big brand as is, and A&M was on that level. So now you putting two colossals together, and then, I mean, it only made. I mean, shit. Now you see the stadium now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we keep adding stuff.
Yep.
So it's done nothing but great things for us, and it's gonna continue to work that way until they make it all one big pool, and there won't be no more conferences.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, the NCAA will cease to exist. We'll just have one big, massive conference. It'll be NFL style. Um, I hate to say it too loud, because I don't love it exactly the way that I'm sure you do, Reggie. But A&M has significantly, in my opinion, improved their brand since joining the Southeastern
Yes,
Conference.
sir.
Now, some things have helped along the way, renovating Kyle Field into being one of the biggest stadiums. It was already one of the loudest, but now making
Right.
it one of the loudest and the biggest. It helps with recruits. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They want to play in front of a lot of people, and it's not just a big stadium. It's pretty top notch over there, and I am excited to be back over there on the 30th for the first time in a while.
So,
But then obviously Johnny Manziel winning the Heisman.
yep.
Mike Evans, I might always scream he should have one hand or pinky or something on that Heisman too, because he was a hell of a player.
What?
But Johnny was a real deal. And Kevin Sumlin, Cliff Kingsbury, they
Yep.
catch lightning in a bottle in Tuscaloosa. They win that game. It was a little bit of a perfect storm. And
It was.
so next thing you know, you got Drake rocking Johnny's jersey around, and A&M was just like overnight was a cool school. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It happened like that. And shortly down the line, a decade later, you're signing the best recruiting class in history. And now you still got several of those guys making an impact on the field today for A&M.
Yep.
So when you look at 2024 Texas A&M, are you happy with where they're at? I know I hate to bring that up fresh off that whipping in Columbia, but back up a little bit. What did you think about Coach Elko, the hire, Coach Klein? You're an offensive guy. You still coach in the game. What was your thoughts on Coach Klein? And then, what do you think about where they're at so far in the season?
Love the Elko hire. Thought it was a
Yeah.
great hire. I did.
Yep.
The Klein hire, I felt I had mixed feelings about that one because of. I mean, I looked at K-State and they offenses wasn't always. I understand he's a growing coach. He's getting,
Right.
he's making his way.
Right.
But like as far as his offense and with Connor, he always had a quarterback that was a runner. So he
Yep.
always, so he was always that's the type of quarterback he wanted. And so I didn't think it was gonna fit for Connor. I didn't. And once you start getting through the season and start seeing certain stuff, and I'm watching it with my eye,
Right.
and that's the first thing I see. Connor can play, but this offense might not suit him.
Yep.
And You see Reed in it because all the quarterback RPO, the quarterback runs, and it just fits him a little better.
Yep.
And so but as I say that, I still think Connor should have started last week because against South Carolina, and just to make defenses prepare for two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And continue to make defenses prepare for two. Because I knew that everything that Reed was going to do, the reason I say this, because I went through it as a freshman.
Yeah.
I come in, light it up. They wasn't expecting this. And then that next week, the teams are they going to throw something a little different at you. They going to do something because now I'm prepared for it. So me knowing that, because I went through it, I would have stayed with Connor first because knowing they was gonna be ready for all the running, all the RPO stuff. So we're gonna stay. We gonna ride with Connor because we gonna need that precision passing today.
Yeah,
we're gonna need it.
If South Carolina was going to do anything, they were not going to allow the legs of Marcel Reed to beat them.
That was not going to beat them.
Never.
That was we saw I think he threw 1-2 passes in against LSU.
Yeah, two for two.
So and I love the kid because I think he reminds me a lot of myself. But like you said, South Carolina was not gonna let him come in to do that. No. That was you was gonna have to beat them throwing the ball, and that's why I'm sitting out like, man, we need to put Connor in the game, just to get a mix up because we need to throw the ball.
It's tough because as we just both said, they're not gonna let you beat you with your legs, and if he's not doing that, he's not really proven as a passer. He did make a really good deep ball the game before against LSU. A little bit of a busted coverage.
Yep.
But it's like you force him to do that over and over and over and over again.
Now moving on defense, I'm showing you stuff that we didn't show the last couple weeks because we know you're a freshman, you haven't seen a lot. So now we're gonna do something that you haven't seen. Then we're gonna bail out and drop into a zone. And now you don't know. Now your eyes is confused. You don't know what to do. So, I mean,
they're going to give you a lot of, they're really going to try to beat you up on first and second down in the run game, force the obvious passing down where they can get aggressive or mix it up and do whatever they wanted. And
their defense was next level too.
They're really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's not just the defensive ends. The edges get a lot of credit and praise, but the tackles are good. The backers are good. And the secondary is underrated too.
I like them. I mean, they defense fly around. They definitely don't lack effort on their defense.
No, not at all, man. A lot of fun to watch. Marcel will do his thing when he is getting loose. But I love getting your opinion, man, on that because I definitely had thoughts on what you prefer to see. And so, Reggie, man, thank you a ton for spending some time with us, guys. Go like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Any parting words, Mr. McNeal?
Man, we so we got some stuff going on with South Texas Live. Be on the lookout for it. We got a big festival out in Poteet called the Strawberry Poteet Festival. Got some artists and a bunch of bands, and it's a big festival out there going on. And then off of it, we'll be having some football camps, some South Texas, some stuff out in South Texas, and I'm actually working with somebody that's a Longhorn. So my Longhorns out there, y'all be tapped, y'all be tuned in too. I think I lost you.
Sorry about that technical difficulty on that.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys check that out. Be on the lookout.
It's in April, I think the April 11th, 12th, and 13th weekend. It'll be a fun little weekend. Just the Poteet Strawberry Festival. I think that's the name of it. Poteet Strawberry. Yeah. South Texas Live. Indeed.
Check it out. Show Reggie some love. Definitely cool to get him on there. Big fan, Reggie. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Reggie's gonna come back on. We're gonna talk some playoffs because they're gonna sneak in the playoffs. We're gonna beat them. Close game. 93.
Hear my then we'll be talking about my son. They about to hit the playoffs too. They gonna make a nice little run over in South Oak Cliff. So hopefully we be going down to Jerry's World at the end of December.
Hey, I'll be up there, man. Definitely rooting for it and definitely linking up if
Yes,
you guys make it up. So, guys, once again, show Reggie some love. He's on Twitter. He's active, talking a little Aggie football every now and then. But I really appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for being here. And I'm not going to ask you to give him a hook 'em, Reggie, but